Shut up and sit down.
What's up, guys? Si from Ace Podcast Nation. Welcome. I'm joined today by former Fightful writer Andrew Thompson, and we're going to talk about some wrestling, some Summerslam, some Raw, and then probably a bit of Bray Wyatt and Fiend, and some independent, or should I say, some NXT UK maybe, and a bit of New Japan chucked in. Welcome, Andrew, to the show.
I appreciate you having me, Jason. Thank you again, man. It's always a pleasure doing this.
Always brings a smile to my face when people call me Jason. Still, it just makes me smile all the time. How are you? Yeah, you good?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good. I'm doing just fine. How about you?
It's all good. I'm ready for SmackDown to be done though tonight. It's like a lot of wrestling back to back. I'm so far behind as well on the G1. I'm so far behind.
It's a big wrestling weekend, and then we got another big wrestling weekend in 2 weeks for All Out weekend with Royal Quest and Takeover Cardiff, and then Raw and SmackDown. It's gonna be a big week, and then right after that we're heading into AEW on TNT, and then possibly NXT on FS1. So it's gonna be a big time for wrestling this fall, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be mad. By October, it's gonna be crazy world for wrestling, because there's just like AEW are gonna want to start hot. WWE are going to want SmackDown and Raw to be sort of tip top and really good. And then obviously if NXT goes onto FS1, they're going to want that to be big. So it's just going to be trying to fit in the time to watch all these shows.
A bunch of good wrestling. It's all going to be a bunch of good wrestling to watch. That's all it
is. Yeah, and I mean, when you look at like the last few Raws, I've actually really enjoyed since Heyman's been in there. I think there's been one Raw since he took over where I was a bit bored and didn't really enjoy it. But other than that, they've been really good. And I thought it was another good show this Monday.
Oh, yeah. You go ahead. You continue.
I was just going to say, what did you think of SummerSlam? But you go on, carry on.
I think SummerSlam was actually a good show. You know, I saw a lot of mixed reviews. I thought that was me, but there were I saw a bunch of people that didn't actually enjoy SummerSlam, but I was surprised at that. But I actually enjoyed SummerSlam. I thought it was a good show, top to bottom. You know, I didn't think any matches dragged. I think it was just overall good show. It was a good pay-per-view.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed more than I didn't, and I think the fact that it was like 4.5 hours or so rather than the usual sort of 6, that helped.
And they ended at 10:30. Well, PM Eastern time.
Yeah, so I didn't watch it live, because if it'd been like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's too old to do that now. I just can't do it. But so I just watch it in the morning when my kids wake me up. But like, I thought it was pretty good. You know, there was no match where I was like, this is terrible, or I didn't enjoy it. I think the only match where I was disappointed was probably the AJ and Ricochet match, just because I was hoping for a bit more of a action pack. I don't know whether it would be action packed, or I was just expecting this match to be their sort of their barn burner, their top match, because they're two of the most talented guys in the world. For sure. And I figured SummerSlam, this is going to be it now. They've had like a TV match and a match which has been sort of a DQ, so this is going to be the one, bell to bell. It's just going to be incredible. And it was okay. It was good. It was technically good, but just wasn't quite.
Like the thing is, with like these matches that have like high expectations, one thing is that we've seen AJ and Ricochet before, so kind of that anticipation kind of dies down a little bit and it fades out because we've already seen it. Like opposed to when Seth Rollins versus AJ happened at Money in the Bank, we never seen that match before, so everybody was amped up and the crowd was so amped up during the match it made it better than what it was, and it was still a great match. Like, don't get me wrong, but the crowd is like essential to some of these matches being better than what they are, and like people have already seen AJ and Ricochet. We've seen it on Raw, seen it at Extreme Rules. So you get it a third time around, like even though SummerSlam is a bigger pay-per-view, it's like, you know, and then AJ and Ricochet only went at it for about 13 minutes. So it was, I think it was still a good match, but it was,
Yeah,
we've
it
seen
was.
it
I
already.
liked it. I liked the finish as well. But you're right. We've seen it on Raw, recently as well.
Mm.
Like if you think back to when remember when they had all the stars who were ill, so they did Finn versus AJ, and it was like a last minute match, and they'd never wrestled before in the WWE, and the crowd was totally, bang up for it because it was unexpected. They'd never wrestled before. It was like a bit of a dream match, and I feel like they do give away these big matches too often on TV.
That's
And
the
I
point.
get
Yep.
I know they've got to fill, 3 hours on a Monday, 2 hours on a Tuesday. So it is difficult to save those matches. But I feel like they could do a better job of, just protecting some of their bigger, dream matches and as such.
I completely agree.
So let's just quickly skip through the card. We won't spend too long. What did you think of I quite enjoyed the Buddy Murphy and
Apollo Crews match.
Sorry, Apollo Crews. Yeah. Buddy
Apollo
Murphy and Apollo Crews. Yeah.
Apollo Crews. I think it was they only went for about 3-4 minutes. I think it was good for what it was because it was used to further build an angle to this match on SmackDown Live. Like Buddy Murphy got moved to SmackDown as a part of the Superstar Shakeup in April, and he's just getting his first match on SmackDown today, which is Tuesday. Like he's going to be facing Roman Reigns. I know a lot of people will probably say, "Oh, well, why you put him up against Roman Reigns if he's going to lose?" I mean, everybody knows Buddy Murphy's going to lose, but I mean, like the fact that this man is going to be able to showcase what he can do, because it's not a question that Buddy Murphy he's a great wrestler. That's just what it is. Just the same thing like how Cedric Alexander on Raw on the 12th, August 12th, he faced Drew McIntyre and had one of the best matches of the night on the show, and it got him over in front of that fan base. And I'm pretty sure Buddy Murphy's going to do the exact same thing. And it further progresses this storyline of who attacked Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and I think I liked that they had 3 matches on the pre-show, because one of my pet hates about the pre-show and why a lot of the time I just skip through it until the matches, because I hate it, because it's just these video packages which they show before the matches anyway, and nothing really happens in the pre-show. So I do like that they had 3 matches, because that gives me a reason to watch it. Whereas, one match at the end of the pre-show, it's like you feel like you've wasted 2 hours just waiting for that one match.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you say, it was good, for the couple of minutes that it was. So I saw someone on Twitter today say that they think that Buddy Murphy is going to be the one behind attacking Roman Reigns, and during this match, they'll have like a 5-minute match, and then before the finish, someone's going to interfere, and it's going to be like Buddy Murphy's he's going to have like a henchman, and they're going to give him a big sort of push out of it. I can't see that. I don't know. I still don't know who's going to be the guy who's attacking Roman, because I feel like them saying Rowan last week and then Rowan attacking Murphy and Cruz in this match. I feel like that's too obvious, and they wouldn't have given it away that soon. So I think that might be a bit of a red herring to throw people off. Where do you
Yeah.
think that's going to go?
Yeah, see, like the storyline is doing its job. Like it's starting to get to that point where I don't like people are starting to get confused about it, and that's what's supposed to happen. Like I think it wouldn't be good if we all just knew who was attacking Roman Reigns from the jump, because everybody immediately thought it was Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is still in the mix. He could be the one sending Rowan on these missions to do this stuff to Roman Reigns, but that's not verified and nobody knows yet. Or it could be Rowan who just feels guilty, so he's attacking whoever says his name. Could be Buddy Murphy, but I like that. This is the good thing about it. Like nobody like truly knows who it is, and I don't think we're really going to find out until about Clash of Champions in September. I generally don't think we're going to find out who attacked Roman Reigns until around that time.
Yeah, I was trying to think if there was anyone who's like injured or, returning soon, or maybe could be debuting soon. Someone
I
who
see
they
that.
could
I see that's very
they
smart.
want to give a big
That's
push
very
to.
smart to elevate somebody who's not even like on the main roster yet, or somebody who's coming in, or somebody who's returning from injury. That's a big way to get them right back on TV and immediately get people interested in them.
Yeah, and undisputed era coming in.
Ooh.
That would be a big shout, but I don't think it'll be them because I think they need them badly for FS1. But I couldn't think of anyone. I haven't got the injured list in front of me, but I couldn't think of anyone who was kind of injured and maybe coming back. There was no one which kind of sprung to mind. So I don't know. I don't know who I think is going to be at the moment. I think there's, apart from Daniel Bryan, I suppose it could still be Samoa Joe, and they've kind of done the whole apology thing to throw you off again. There's no obvious candidates at the moment, I don't think.
Hell, maybe Luke Harper is about to make his return. Who knows?
It's funny you should say that. When he on Raw yesterday, when Elias hit R-Truth with the guitar from behind, and then pinned and won the 24/7 championship, I thought my screen froze, and because he's got like a black vest top and he's got his hair tied up quite high and it's quite frizzy. For it, where my screen froze, I thought that's Luke Harper, and I was convinced for like the next 30 seconds that Luke Harper had just won the 24/7 title, and then my screen unfroze and it wasn't Luke Harper, it was Elias. But
I'm sure that was very disappointing.
It was big time. I was really, really excited for like 30 seconds, and I was like, finally, they're doing something with him. And then it was just. I wonder whether they could use the Roman thing, to someone like EC3, someone who has never really got going, hasn't had a story since they've come up. Someone like that who they just want to give a jump start to.
Yeah, like you said earlier, this could be like real good for somebody who's like just not doing anything, and that way this will be a way to get them to do something and get people to care. Because people hate him on that, dislike him on that, whatever you feel about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a draw. Like you don't have to realize it, but he is. That's why he's in the position that he's in. So I mean, if EC3 is feuding with Roman Reigns and he's attacking Roman Reigns, and you could easily just go the route that EC3 is just jealous, or he's just not doing anything, so he wants to make a statement and get himself involved in something, and he thought that by basically trying to kill Roman Reigns, that's the way to go about it.
Hell yeah. I actually think EC3 could win the King of the Ring tournament.
That's gonna be a good one. King of the Ring.
Yeah, I when I saw the full list of names for that, I was like, woof, that could be an incredible tournament. Like Chad Gable, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, I think Sami Zayn.
It's gonna be some
EC3.
It's gonna be some real good matchups, and then man, some real nice matchup. I like, the thing I hope is like I don't think, well, I don't think that there's a way to do a right or wrong bracket. Like there's just like a bunch of stat guys. Everybody in there can go. Everybody in there has some type of somewhat connection with the fan base. Like it's just gonna be a great tournament.
Yeah, boy, it's gonna be good. Who do you think who would you like to see win it?
The King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah. If you were picking, who would you pick?
Do you have a list of names? I know a few. I know a few of the guys in there, but I don't know the full list.
Just give me.
Let me see. I think I have a list. Right. I have a list. Out of the yeah. So we have on the Raw side, we have The Miz, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro. For SmackDown, we have Kevin Owens, Ali, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, Elias, Andrade, Buddy Murphy, and Shelton Benjamin.
Oh wow!
So in the finals, I'm guessing it'll be one guy from Raw, one guy from SmackDown. In the finals on the side of the bracket. So from the Raw side, I could definitely see Drew McIntyre winning the Raw side, and probably on SmackDown, I'm going Ali. So in the finals, Drew McIntyre versus Ali.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you could make a case for sort of 5 or 6 of them. Like, I'd love to see Samoa Joe win it, because I feel like they always make him lose the big match. So, like, if you had like him versus, I don't know, KO, or him versus Chad Gable in the final, that would be like a pretty lit final match. Just everyone would kind of be expected Samoa Joe to lose, because he always loses the big match, and I feel like it could really push him on to the next level. But then I could be, Andrade, Buddy Murphy, Chad Gable, Drew McIntyre. You could pick any of them and make, Ricochet, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn needs like a bit of a reboot, not even a reboot of character, but like he needs to win some matches. And
I just want to know who Sami Zayn pissed off, because I don't know what he's been doing lately on TV. He's been losing in seconds and minutes, like just very quickly. I just want to know who Sami Zayn pissed off.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I wonder, like, it's weird because I just wonder whether it's did he say something when they went to Saudi Arabia? Didn't he do like a charity show at the same time that the show was on the Friday afternoon? And I wonder whether it's that they felt like he was kind of trying to take away from people watching that or something.
Yeah, see, I got my own conspiracy theories about why this is happening to Sami Zayn. He did an interview with Chris Jericho on the Talk is Jericho podcast, like in the fall of 2018. It was like, I know it was after the 2018 Survivor Series pay-per-view, and he basically said that he didn't miss wrestling.
Yeah,
exactly what he said.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like a direct quote. He said, "I know wrestling fans maybe don't want to hear this, but I've been loving being off. I think maybe wrestling fans wanted to hear, I can't get back. I can't wait to get back, and I miss everything. I don't miss anything. I don't miss it yet." That's basically what he said. He said some other stuff, but that was like the gist of what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my conspiracy theory about why this is happening to Sami Zayn. I mean, he did blatantly say that he doesn't miss wrestling, but I mean, he's probably burnt out. It's probably would like sometimes people just get burnt out, and that's with any job. You just get burnt out and you just need a break, a time off.
Yeah, man. If you do, especially with these guys where they're traveling, they're traveling constantly in the early hours of the morning, and then getting up early to go train and go do interviews and local radio stations and stuff. It's like a never-ending cycle of work, travel. And I just think that WWE doesn't give them enough time off in between. Like, they should be able to, if they do a tour of Europe for 2 months, when they come back, give them the week off other than TV. Just let them recharge their batteries and see their kids and see their families and see their wives and their partners and stuff. Because I just think it just builds up this attitude of resentment, even if it's not like intentionally. If you're constantly away from your family and you're constantly traveling in this, like a rental car and stuff, it's natural that you're going to start to resent it.
Exactly.
Even if you love it, even if you love your job and you love the WWE, and even those guys who are so happy to be there and they love their job, even then, even those guys will get burnt out during that schedule. And I feel like they should perhaps give them a bit of off time,
like
more
a
often
small
than
off
not.
season.
Yeah, man. Just give them there's periods throughout the year where the TV ratings drop, like they go non-existent, and no one's watching because there's other stuff on or whatever it may be. So give them like that, give them that where it's quiet and there's nobody going to house shows and there's not as many people watching on TV. Give them a few weeks off. Give them a month off there, and you see how they come back rejuvenated and motivated because they're grateful for that time off. And I think you'd see a better product for it. But yeah. Anyway, just like last time, we've gone off on 65 different tangents what we were originally talking about. But that's all right. It's cool. Like I say, I just wanted to talk about SummerSlam generally rather than blow by blow. Did you enjoy the Drew Gulak and Oney Lorcan match?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. It was, I knew they were gonna go out there and basically beat each other up, so that was cool. I mean, I'm enjoying Drew Gulak's reign as champion. I think it was kind of a long time coming for him. Only Lorcan, that is one dude. Like if I was to ever get in like a bar fight,
Yeah.
that's the dude I want right with me. Only Lorcan.
He's just a tough dude, isn't he?
He is scrapper, man. That's what he is. He's a scrapper.
I really like Gulak. I think Gulak is one of the most underrated performers that they've got in all their brands because he could do comedy with the PowerPoint stuff, and now he's gone to this more like submission type character who's
Drew Gulak went right.
Yeah.
Drew Gulak, he went right back to what he was doing on the independent scene, man. This is exactly what he was doing, just being physical, submission wrestling, technical wrestling. Like this is what Drew Gulak was before he got to the WWE.
Yeah, and it's entertaining, man, and it's a shame that they didn't seem to want to pull the trigger on Chad Gable on 205 Live. They kind of put him on there, but then like he was on the TV, but they didn't seem to want to give him a title shot at like a pay-per-view and stuff. It was almost like he was on 205 Live, but they didn't really want him to be there. Because I felt like, if they could have given like 10, 12 minutes to Chad Gable and Drew Gulak on SummerSlam or something like that, be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Gable's a super, super talented guy. And I wish they would do something with him because he is so good in the ring.
Gable. He's I know he recently wrestled Jack Gallagher on 205 Live. They had a rematch from their last match that they had on 205. And I mean, I think Gable's gonna be like, because I know Gable. He was on SmackDown last week. He had the confrontation with Elias when Elias made fun of his height. So I'm guessing Gable's gonna be on 205 and SmackDown, which is not bad for him at all. And he's gonna be in the King of the Ring, which is great for him. So I mean, more time for Chad Gable to get out there and expose himself.
Yeah, I hope they really give the King of the Ring tournament matches like a real, like good amount of time for the matches because, like you said, there's loads of really talented workers in there. So give them time.
Like ideally, I know it's like a lot to ask for because it's completely different from the G1. Like the G1 doesn't have to take commercial breaks. They don't have like people in their ear saying, okay, we got to take this break. And that's why they can go 23 minutes. And that's why they can have 30-minute time limit draws for these matches. But it's not impossible for the WWE to do that. Like if they wanted to, they could give every match a 30-minute time limit draw. And it doesn't have to go 30 minutes. They can go 19, they can go 23, 25, and then you can save the big marquee matches for like the 27 minutes, 29 minutes. And like it's so many ways to go, man.
Yeah, well, when I was growing up watching wrestling, they used to go to their last commercial break before the main event started with like and then you'd get like 20 minutes of the main event of TV, like Raw or SmackDown, and you would get 20 minutes uninterrupted wrestling or whatever, whatever angle they were shooting. There's no reason they can't time their adverts to be in between matches to give matches more time and uninterrupted time, particularly when it's tournament matches. And in the first round, they could give 15 minutes, 20 minutes to these guys and let them really tell a story in the ring.
Definitely.
See, people, generally people love tournaments. And I hope that WWE treats it like a tournament in the traditional sense, like the Cruiserweight Classic and the women's tournament and the G1, rather than it being really gimmicky and character heavy.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like traditionally, like over the past 2 decades or whatever. Well, not 2 decades. I'm not gonna say that because the last it's like the last few King of the Ring winners, man. Like they just flounder after they win King of the Ring, and it's like a gimmick for them to lose. Like, oh hey, yeah, I'm still the king, but I'm losing every week. Like it's like that type of thing. Like the last like prominent King of the Ring member, like I remember, was probably Brock Lesnar in 2002. Like because he won the King of the Ring, and then a month later he won the WWE Championship. Like that, I think they need to add like some stakes to this. Like you win King of the Ring, you get to challenge for any championship you want at the following pay-per-view. Like that it needs to be something for them to fight for. Like King of the Ring, being called King of the Ring is cool, but like there needs to be some incentive to this. Like you could add in like the thought of like a cash prize. Like people love money.
Yeah.
Add something for people to fight for. Add something for people to care about.
Yeah, and I feel like a title shot is the way to go. But yeah, you're right. The last couple of King of the Ring tournaments they've done, or the last few, they've given them like this really cheesy King gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of started with King Booker.
Oh yeah,
and then it went on to
the thing was Booker T. He went on to win the world title, so like I can excuse, but I mean Booker T was still gimmicky, but he did win a world title with that gimmick. But the rest of the guys like Sheamus and you about to mention Wade Barrett, like guys like they just kept losing after they won the King of the Ring.
Yeah, hopefully they do something and they treat it like a proper tournament, and I'll be happy. Then the last match on the pre-show was the women's tag match. I really feel like the Iconics they're really entertaining out of the ring, but I feel like their ring work has gone downhill considerably since when they were in NXT. I feel like in NXT, I thought their ring work was decent, particularly what's her name? Peyton Royce. I thought her ring work it wasn't like Okada level, but like it was good in NXT and it was decent. And I feel like they've missed a step on the main roster, perhaps. I see it wasn't a terrible match by any means, but I find them really entertaining though. The Iconics, they win me over with their character work.
Yeah, the Iconics, they are really entertaining team. And the in-ring work part, I think that's just like credited to them not being able to wrestle frequently on TV because they never did. Like coming out of WrestleMania, they didn't really do anything. And I don't know if you caught what Nikki Bella said on the Bella's podcast a couple months ago. She said that the plan for them was initially to come back after WrestleMania and feud with the Iconics over the women's tag team titles. And a lot of people think that is the reason why the women's tag titles just floundered after WrestleMania, because the plan was for Iconics and Bella's to feud. And then, Nikki she found a cyst in her brain, which is very unfortunate. And she had to step away from wrestling, and she probably will have to forever stay away from wrestling. But I think that was just the plan for WWE. Like okay, Bella's Iconics, that's going to be what takes us to the next couple months. And that plan folded. And then the Iconics had to, in turn, fold, which wasn't their fault. But
yeah, like they never made a replacement, did they? Then they never replaced the Bellas with a different feud.
And then the thing, so Sasha Banks leaving, so that was probably another thing right there.
Yeah, of course. Then the main show opened with Becky and Natalia. I've got to be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to this match. I like Natalia. I think she seems like a lovely person. The last time I found her genuinely entertaining from a character point of view was when she was with the Hart Dynasty. I really struggle to connect with her character, whether it's heel or face. I just don't find it entertaining or captivating. I wouldn't say entertaining because she can work really well and she has moments on the promos, but she's not like someone who I would go out my way to watch necessarily.
Yeah, I see that. I see that from that's a lot of people's opinions right there, like about Natalia. Like they just can't get into the character, although she's a very, very good wrestler. But it's just I'm the same way. Like I enjoy Natalia, her in ring work, but the character, like even when she was a baby face, like I can't get into it. She's a heel. There's a moments when she's heel I can get into it, but I don't know what it is, man. Like I genuinely don't know what it is. But she does, like you said, she does seem like the nicest person in the world.
Yeah. You almost feel bad, don't you? If she's spicy, I feel bad saying that I'm not entertained by her because she seems so nice.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was a decent match, though, actually. And for a match that I wasn't looking forward to, I really did end up really enjoying it, and I thought the finish was really good, and I thought the way it was produced and the way they worked was quite entertaining, and a submission match is quite unique. You don't see many of them generally in WWE, particularly on the women's side. And I feel like Sasha coming back on Raw is the best thing that could have happened for the women's division, but also for Becky.
100%.
I feel like
100%.
She hasn't had that real opponent since Ronda left.
Mm-hmm. Yes, like you said on the just go back to Becky and Natalia. I think that was a great choice to open the card because the crowd was hot.
Yes, yeah.
Go ahead and get it out the way while the crowd's feeling it. They're in the moment. Like, of course, Becky's gonna get the pot. I think Becky's still to this day the biggest superstar they got right now in the women's division, and she's definitely top 3 right now in the company, like in everything. So, and then back to Sasha Banks. Yeah, her coming back to feud with Becky, man, that's a big get for Becky. Like that's instantly taking her back to where she was back at WrestleMania. And then just a quick note, not to get too off track, but I'm glad that they went ahead and got the Sasha heel turn out of the way last night because I think people were going to eventually turn on Sasha. They were going to eventually start because she left and stuff like that. People got their varying opinions. Some people still gonna boo her just for the simple fact that she left. But I mean, look, Sasha Banks is a superstar, man. They gonna put her in that position regardless whether you like it or not. So now they're giving you a reason not to like her, and there it is. Now she's gonna be getting a championship match, pretty sure at Clash of Champions. So
yeah, it's going to be a hot program, isn't it? It's going to be the crowd's going to be all about it. And the other thing I noticed is looks like they're going to go to Bayley versus Charlotte, which is again. I quite like what they've been doing with Bayley's character, giving her a bit more of an edge. Yeah. So it's good to see the horsewomen back in those title slots.
Definitely.
Hopefully they can produce some really good matches to elevate it further.
Yeah, like Bayley, I genuinely cannot think of a bad match that she's had coming out of WrestleMania. Like she's had really good matches. Like really good matches. Bayley's done some great in-ring work.
Yeah, I think in NXT, Becky and Sasha did some great work. So I'm hoping that they have an absolute barn burner when they feud now. I'm really hoping they give, because I feel like there hasn't in WWE there hasn't been a really great women's match since Charlotte versus Becky. What was it?
Evolution.
Yeah, that was incredible match, and I feel like there hasn't been one up to that sort of level since the WrestleMania match was very good, but it wasn't on that level.
No,
So I'm
I
hoping
agree. I agree.
hope that
But
these
the one that I
on
can't
either
remember,
side they can have good matches.
the one that I can't remember after Evolution was, when Charlotte beat Oscar for the SmackDown Women's title before WrestleMania. That was a real
Yeah,
good one.
yeah,
Which I think was, which I just add, I think that was very unfair to Oscar, but now, like, looking back, hindsight being 2020, it kind of made sense. So
yeah. Hopefully they, for the next couple of pay-per-views on both for the SmackDown Women's title and the Raw Women's title, if the horsewomen can have really, really hot matches, they can then elevate someone else in after that feud is finished. Whether it be like an Ember Moon or someone
and
like that.
and then at that on the SmackDown side, we still have people like Liv Morgan who said that she was going to come back as a different person, and I'm guessing she's getting repackaged. So we don't know how she's going to come back or how people are going to react to her. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I really hope they give. I always forget her name. Um, was not the two women who were in Absolution. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville, that's the one. Sorry. I would really, really like them to give Sonya Deville a push,
She
and
can go. She's a
she
good
can
wrestler.
really work, and
Mhm.
and her strikes they look beautiful. They're so crisp, and I want to see. I'd really like to see if they've got. Can she make the step up to main event? Can she join the horsewomen in being like a top tier worker and get over with the crowd from a character point of view as well?
Yeah.
And I feel like they nearly went with her last year when they started to do like the storyline with her and Mandy, and then they pulled back again, and then they looked like they were doing it again a couple of weeks ago, and then they pulled back again. I'd like to see them give her a go. Next up, we got Goldberg and Dolph, which was, what it was going to be. We all knew what it was going to be. I did like that they sort of teased us first by having him hit Goldberg with a couple of super kicks straight away. I thought that was quite clever to do it that way rather than just squash. It is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of Goldberg, but it was it's an entertaining 3 minutes or whatever it was. So one thing I was going to ask you about that, obviously I'll get your thoughts on this match, but what do you think of what they're doing with Dolph Ziggler at the moment with this character where he gets beaten and then he stays on the mic and the guy comes back and sort of beats him down? I don't really get where they're going with it.
Yeah, I don't like I don't think there's like anything to like get per se. I just think that Dolph Ziggler is he's a WWE team guy. Like he's down for whatever they need him to do, he's gonna do it. He's not gonna go what he's complained before, but like I don't think Dolph Ziggler is going anywhere. And I think he's just a WWE lifer. Like they want him there, obviously. And they know he's gonna be able to just go out there and just do what they need him to do or do whatever they want him to do. And Dolph Ziggler, he got the comedy thing going on, like he has other business ventures. I think that he's transitioning out of WWE and not in a like a negative way, but like he's building other careers, like for when he's fully done in ring performing. And I think that this Goldberg thing was just a redemption match for Goldberg because he had that horrible match in Saudi Arabia with The Undertaker. And this was it was a good showing for Goldberg. Like, and then at that, like the thing is, I know people said, "Oh man, why is Goldberg back?" I'm like, "What did you hear the reaction that he got when he came out on Raw?" That's why. And you hear the reaction.
I still think that they're building towards Riddle versus Goldberg
in Saudi Arabia.
Riddle. I don't know about Saudi Arabia. I just think they're building to Riddle versus Goldberg. Riddle beats him, and then Riddle versus Lesnar.
They posted the video on WWE's YouTube channel actually. Riddle talking about his exchange with Goldberg. Like that's what kind of tipped me off a little bit. I was like, why are they posting that again? And I was like, oh well, maybe we do have something coming along.
and you know that Paul Heyman's a big fan of Riddle. Paul Heyman's heavily involved in Goldberg's segments, obviously heavily involved with Lesnar. And then, Lesnar's probably got a couple of years left in him. If they want to build the next big, legit superstar, Riddle's your guy. And what a way to do it is if, say Survivor Series, they do Riddle versus Goldberg as like a special attraction match or something. They could set it up by Goldberg could be on Raw or something, accepting an award or, some crap. And then Riddle could spoil it and then they could go from there. Or they could, there's loads of ways they can go. And but not necessarily say Riddle's being promoted to the main roster. Like build it from something else and say it's a special attraction match, but then have like the commentators build it as like, Riddle's a rookie, he's being disrespectful, Goldberg's blah blah blah, and then have Riddle like shock him by knocking him out and winning at Survivor Series. You've made him a legit star there, and then perhaps Riddle comes back in the Rumble and eliminates Brock when Brock thinks he's going to win, and then you do Brock and Riddle at Mania, have Riddle beat him, have Lesnar to take a step back then and just be that special attraction guy who comes in for a feud, then goes for a few months, comes back for a big feud. And I just feel like at the start of the year, when Riddle was making the noises about, I want to retire Brock Lesnar, I was saying to Alex Pulowski on Twitter, I said, if they've got any sense, they're recording these, or they're keeping these clips that Riddle's posted on Periscope or Twitter, and they're keeping them because they could do a year-long build to this retirement match, if you like. And at the time, I was just like, that's what they should do, but they won't. And then as the year's gone on, and Riddle has kept saying that, and he's been very vocal in attacking Goldberg to the point where at one point I was like, this has got to be a work, because he's just like every day was saying Goldberg's trash, Goldberg's this. And it was like, if you look around, there's no other WWE employee who's being that vocal about anything.
Like the thing is, I genuinely don't think it's a work. I don't. I think Riddle is just is who he is. Like even on the Takeover Toronto media call, somebody asked Triple H about Matt Riddle's post on social media, and Triple H said that, look, Matt Riddle's a big boy. He can handle himself. Whatever he does or says on social media is his business. And when he said that, I'm like, well, Riddle must be serious in what he said. I just genuinely think Matt Riddle does not enjoy Goldberg as an in-ring performer.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that aspect of it. I agree that it's not a work. He does think Goldberg's trash, and I believe that he believes that, and he would say that if he wasn't in WWE, he would still say that. But I think now that they've got together, or the WWE, or they've spoken to Triple H, or whoever, and they've said, let's keep it going, let's turn it up, we'll film some stuff, because they filmed. Did you see the the watch along for SummerSlam?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Did you see the
clip? Yeah. And Matt Riddle said he met. So in the watch along for SummerSlam, Matt Riddle said he met Goldberg, and he was like, "Hey, bro," or whatever, and Goldberg said, "I'm not your bro," but apparently they went back and forth, and he was just, the way he describes it is just so funny. But like, they filmed that. WWE did. They filmed that interaction, which I would love to see. But which is why I think that they probably work something out. But Goldberg doesn't like losing, is the other thing, and I particularly don't think he likes losing to people he doesn't like. So maybe that could be an issue.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But if you want to make Matt Riddle your next legit star, that's how you do it, in my eyes. You have him go over Goldberg and Brock Lesnar in a relatively short space of time, and potentially retire both of them. That's what I would do anyway. So yeah, then we had the OC. Not on board with the OC nickname. I love them. I just wish they'd call it the OGs or just kept it as the club. I don't. The OC just doesn't do it for me really. But they're so entertaining, and I'm so glad that Luke Gallows has brought the face paint back.
Yeah, I literally just found out yesterday that that the OC meant the original club. I swear I thought it meant like the official club for like the longest time, and I saw like on the Titantron, I was like, oh, that's what it means. But yeah, I'm liking the OC. Like everybody says, like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are a good tag team. Been a good tag team for a long time. Thing is, like they just been floundering on the main roster, and now that it's like all of a sudden that Paul Heyman's taking over on Raw, like they become what they should have been 3 years ago. So,
yeah.
I mean, better late than never.
Yeah. The finish of this match was awesome, where Ricochet kind of did like a Phoenix splash.
Yeah, I think he was trying to
stood up, and he caught him into the Styles Clash.
Yeah, it looked like Ricochet was trying to like do like a backwards like Hurricane or whatever he was trying to do. Like he was trying to poison, like he was trying to do something to AJ, poison Rana him or something, and AJ caught him beautifully. The same way he caught Seth Rollins with the curb stomp back at Money in the Bank. That was cool. But yeah, AJ and Ricochet matches are good, man. And then next week, AJ is gonna be putting the U.S. title on the line against Braun Strowman, so that's gonna be something.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. I don't know. Could be anything, couldn't it? Part of me kind of hopes they put the title on Braun, because then AJ could go after the Universal title. Because I'd rather see him with the Universal title with the OC and the tag titles than the US title in some ways.
And do you think
they're going to go with Brock and Braun and Seth? I think.
So let me ask you this: so if AJ does drop the U.S. title to Braun and AJ goes after the Universal title and eventually wins the Universal title, do you think that leaves the U.S. title up for grabs for Finn Balor when he comes back from vacation?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe we get that Finn OC.
I had an interesting little idea. So, I think I replied to your tweet the other day because I said after the Fiend debut, I said, I don't want them to rush the Demon versus the Fiend.
No.
Because I'd rather save that for further down the line. But then I thought about it afterwards.
Really, at this point, I don't even want to see that. I don't. I just want Finn to join the club, and I want Finn to be a heel, and I want him to go back and people have interest in him again, like genuine interest, and not just the basic interest that people have in him. Like I want people to be excited about Finn Balor. Like I don't want to see the Demon. I just need heel Finn Balor with the club. That's all I want. I don't want to see the Demon.
What I would quite like is because you know what Vince McMahon is like. He can't help himself sometimes. If they say for Clash of Champions, the Fiend is going to face the Demon, say, because they can't wait, which, wouldn't be unheard of for Vince. That's fine.
Nah, but Finn going to be off for 2 months.
Yeah, he's taking time off, I think. But I said, if they were going to rush that match, is I would have the Fiend, like, beat the Demon comfortably, similar to what he did to Finn. And then that be the reason why Finn sort of changes his character and then go back to the real rock and roller and heel Finn and just join up with the club.
Yeah, they well, I know you saw in the SummerSlam pre-show when he had the interaction with Gallows, Anderson, and AJ, and they basically told him, they were like, I know you're tired of losing. Like basically told him that, and they was like, you're probably gonna lose tonight, and he did. And Finn had that look on his face like damn, they might be right. Like it might be time.
Yeah, I just hope they don't. By the time he comes back, they don't change their mind and think, "Oh, we need to do the Fiend and the Demon, or we need to do Bray and Finn." Like I
We
want to
we
see Braun beat AJ next week
mm,
because of Seth. Like Seth cost AJ the title, and then AJ take the Universal title off Seth, and then when Finn comes back, or have Braun do like an open challenge for a few weeks where he decimates people, and then have Finn return 1 week, beat Braun with the help of the OC,
see, yep,
and
exactly,
give him all the
exactly.
belts.
That's a perfect one right there. Like, I was just about to say that, like, people, I know people are probably gonna be like, well, how is Finn going to beat Braun straight up? Like, have AJ, Gallows, and Anderson interfere in the match, and aid Balor to winning the U.S. Championship. That's simple.
Yeah, there you go. We just booked it. Easy. See, don't know why they find it so difficult. Next up, we have the SmackDown's Women's Championship. I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't get as much time. I thought that if they'd given them an extra few minutes, they could have really had a good match. I felt like they were just getting going, and then they went home. I just wish they would do something with Ember Moon. Like,
Man, like
really give her.
dude, I don't know what it is. Like, I just cannot get into Ember on the main roster. Like, I was a huge Ember fan when she was in NXT, and then she got to the main roster, and it was just like I don't know what happened. But the thing is, with this match, I think Ember really she had a real good showing, but I don't
Yeah,
think the crowd was that invested until the end of the match. Like when Ember and Bailey started going, the crowd started getting into it. But at the beginning, it was just like we know Bailey and they hate Bailey in Toronto for some reason. So
yeah. I think one of the problems with Ember on the main roster is she just kind of hasn't got a character. She's like, is she fiery? Is she, is she nice? Is she nasty? Is she, what's her motivations? They don't tell you anything. They don't give you any reason why the characters feel the way they do or act the way they do.
mm,
They've told you nothing about her. It's kind of just like, oh, she won a number one contenders match, and now she's in the title match, and
you,
it's a bit,
something I kind of like storybook like this whole thing like to get Ember Moon over like a while ago. Like it was sitting in my brain. Like I should have like put it out there, but it was like so I had this idea that, and this kind of like a little 5 minute rant, but I had this idea that Ruby Riott was going to become Raw Women's Champion somehow, right? And this was like last year, and she was going to engage in a feud with Ember Moon. And some people know that Ember and Ruby used to be real tight on the independent scene, like they used to work together a lot. And I was going to have this idea that come this feud between Ruby and Ember, that Ruby was going to tell the Riot Squad to back off, and she had this one for herself because Ember's a friend, and that was going to be a way to further get Ember over because the Riot Squad was going to feel like Ruby's kind of choosing Ember over her, and it was just this whole thing that I had planned out, but it is obviously not going to happen. But yeah,
yeah.
something needs to happen with Ember, man.
But you know what I wish they would do with the main roster more, and a lot with all of them, is I feel like the best characters are the ones where how can we use an example? Okay, so let's use like Bray Wyatt. Like you feel like Bray Wyatt, when he thinks about his character, he thinks about everything to do with it. He thinks about his motivations, his backstory, his why he wants to do this and who's he going to go after and why he's going to go after. Even if they don't say it on screen, you feel like he's done that in his head, so he better understands his character. Or like same with like Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, people like that. I feel like they don't flesh out the characters enough. And even if they don't tell us on screen, wrestler A is doing this because, to put it simply, the, the the people need to understand their characters a bit better so that we can understand and we can be captivated by it and we can be, emotionally invested in what these characters want to achieve or why they're angry or why they don't like so and so. And I feel like they don't do that enough. But I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I could go on and on with you about it, but yeah, I basically agree. Like honestly, yeah, it's the same thing for me.
So next up was the Kevin Owens Shane McMahon match.
I only got one thing to say on this. It was a good match, and I hope this is the end of Shane McMahon on WWE TV for a while. Buddy has overstayed his welcome, and I'm done with Shane McMahon.
Okay. I'll counteract that with one thing. I don't mind him staying on with his little corporation 2.0 stable. If one thing happens, if Bray Wyatt becomes or targets the authority stable thing he's got going on and like kills Shane McMahon off, takes him off TV, and the Fiend is all, the Fiend, even though he's technically a heel, everyone loves him. Everyone is completely captivated by it. Bray Wyatt has been like the ready-made anti-hero from the start. They should have done like a Bray Wyatt versus the Authority type angle about 2 years ago. So if you're going to take Shane off TV, but I'm assuming they haven't done it yet, because if they were going to do it, he would have had the stipulation, same as Kevin Owens, that he had to go if he lost. So just have the Fiend just decimate him.
Yeah, see, I kind of had this idea that if Shane McMahon was gonna be Kevin Owens at SummerSlam, it was gonna be a way to transition KO to NXT on FS1.
So did you? I don't know if you would have, if you saw I think it was last week's Raw podcast. Basically, when Sean did the Q&A show, the last one, I sent in a question saying that Daniel Bryan's announcement should be that 205 Live and NXT are merging, and Daniel Bryan is moving onto that brand for the move to FS1, because I feel like he's got the beautiful mix of like indie wrestler,
definitely,
as Bryan Danielson, but also as that mainstream appeal. He can take Eric Rowan with him if he wants. Put Luke Harper on there as well, and have them as his as a tag team behind him.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That's a way to beef up the roster, first of all. And like another thing like that like if NXT really is going live on FX1, like I don't care what nobody says, like you're gonna need a couple main roster stars. Like that's just what it is. Like you said,
go on.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Sorry, mate. I was just gonna say, you think of the guys on 205 Live, which you could integrate into there, like Chad Gable, Drew Gulak, Only Lorcan, obviously is already there. Who else is on 205 Live now?
Tony Nese.
Nese.
Akira Tozawa, Mike Kanellis, Arya Daivari.
I feel like Mike Kanellis could do really well on NXT. I think if he was live, because I think he's got like that mainstream appeal as well as, he can work half decently.
Completely agree.
But yeah, that was my idea, was for basically what you just said about
Kevin Owens.
I said the same, but about Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It would work with Kevin Owens. It would work with Nakamura. It would work with Sami Zayn. It would work with Daniel Bryan. They've all got the mainstream name, but also the sort of the right worker to go back to NXT as well, isn't it? It's like you don't want to send, even though I think Roman Reigns could do that sort of job, they've got more of like an indie type deal.
The NXT, like even with the NXT takeover crowds, man, it's like people who watch all types of wrestling, like Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, like those names you mentioned, they would transition perfectly back into NXT because they've done that time on the independent scene, or they've been in NXT for an extended period of time and won NXT championships. So it's like they're really just going back home in a sense.
Yeah. So next up was Charlotte Flair and Trish Stratus. Again, wasn't really looking forward to this match, but I was, from the first minute, I was really into it. And I thought Trish Stratus can really still go to an amazing extent. You know, considering how long she hasn't wrestled for, I thought she was incredible.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this match. It was a real good match. Like it was more physical than what I was expecting. Like they went at it. They threw some blows and Trish took some bumps, man. Like she was like that,
Yeah,
especially that outside bump. Like she didn't
yeah,
like hold her hands out like behind her back. Like she fell straight on her back, like on the floor. I was like, oh, okay. Trish Stratus is in it. She's in it seriously. But that was like a real good
yeah,
match, man. I was very like if that, like I said on Twitter when that happened, I was like, man, if that's how Trish Stratus is going out, she needs to be proud. That was a good match.
yeah. She was so good that I'd actually would like to see her have a little run from now until like the
WrestleMania.
Rumble, or now,
Or,
yeah, now till Mania, just to like a farewell tour, because I feel like she could elevate some
that would be a good
people.
idea actually. And
You
I
know,
know a
if like,
lot of people want to see her versus Sasha Banks.
oh yeah, well, I'd like to see her versus like Sonya Deville or Ruby Riott, someone like that, who they can, you know, who will
Elevate.
actually get, you know, yeah, because the horsewomen are already like their top tier women. I
Mm.
want to see, they need, and this is what they're struggling with in NXT, is they've, outside of Io Shirai and
Candice
Shayna,
LeRae.
and they haven't really elevated anyone
Mm.
to like
Yeah,
be like
that
next main
NXT women's
event
division
star.
needs to get buffed up. Definitely. That woman needs to.
Yeah, big time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but with Charlotte, like, but also I think that match at SummerSlam is a big credit to Charlotte because I don't
Yeah,
think Charlotte's getting the credit she's deserving for her role in that match because you be completely honest, she kind of I'm not gonna say she carried Trish through that match, but Charlotte is a great base for Trish to work on because she's a tall woman. Well, she's not
yeah,
that tall, but she's taller than Trish, and it's easy for Trish to do some of the stuff that she was able to do to Charlotte, like that her Karana from the top.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think she'd have be able to pull that off with most of the females in the division, but Charlotte is just that damn good and was able to fully execute that move along with Trish.
Yeah, Charlotte's a real like, she's a ring general, isn't she?
Definitely, definitely.
She like guides the match, and it's really good. Um, and yeah, Trish Charlotte was my third favorite of the night. Actually, I would say joint second match of the night.
Mm.
Um, Along with the main event, they were like my sort of level for second best of the night. Um, Next up, we had my least favorite match of the night, which was Kofi
Ah,
versus Randy Orton, which finished in a double count out. I'll let you talk about this because I didn't enjoy it at all.
well, on the build up to the match, I really enjoyed it. The promo work,
Yeah,
the packages were exceptional. Got to the match, I going into, I wasn't expecting some super barn burner like they about to tear the house down, and I wasn't expecting. I was expecting like just a good match. Kofi hit him with the Trouble in Paradise. He he does the stupid thing back to Randy Orton finally after all these years. And I
that was
mean,
good.
like I just don't get why they did this. Like I thought it was just gonna be one and done for Kofi, like with Kofi and Randy, but apparently I'm guessing this is going to Clash of Champions. But the only positive I see out of this is that we're going to get Kofi. We're going to get Kofi and Randy at Clash of Champions. I think Kofi's going to finally beat Randy 1-on-1, and then I think come before October, like before the Fox deal, I think that's when we might see the end of this Kofi Kingston, this glorious championship run he's having, because I think Brock Lesnar's going to take the title off him before the Fox deal starts. And
Yeah,
and then but to see, the thing is, if we do get Kofi versus Brock, I think everybody's gonna get reinvested back into Kofi. But tonight, which is August 13th before SmackDown, man, I don't know how Toronto is gonna react to Kofi because they booed him bad after that segment. So I'm hoping Kofi go ahead, hurry up and get out of there, man, because I don't think Toronto's too happy with him right now.
yeah. I was hoping that it was just going to be Kofi sort of getting his redemption, winning clean, and that was it, and one and done. But yeah, like you say, it looks like they're going to carry it on. I do think that you're right. By the time they go to Fox, either Brock or Roman Reigns will be champ. Next up was the most glorious,
here we go,
incredible.
Here we go.
This is the main event of the podcast. It was just
wait. Before that, you want to go ahead and talk about Seth and Brock first before we get to the Fiend?
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead get the Seth and Brock first.
Semi-main event. Brock and Seth was the main event on Sunday. I gotta say, this is why I defend Brock Lesnar, because he is capable of having incredible matches and moments. He needs the right opponent. And like Brock Lesnar will do whatever they tell him to do as long as they pay him. He doesn't mind losing. He'll do 2 minutes. He'll do 20 minutes. He'll do whatever they say as long as they pay him. And that's why I think they've missed the boat a couple of times with him in terms of the way they've booked him over the years. Like when he fought CM Punk, they could have got CM Punk over real big because Heyman had just turned, and it was like if he had beaten Lesnar at that time, he would have gone. He'd had like the big long run as the big top heel, and then he could have been the very top super over babyface, and then they didn't do it. And a couple of times they haven't quite pulled the trigger. Like I thought Braun could have beaten him. I thought Samoa Joe should have beaten him at different points, but I can understand why they do protect him so much. But him and Rollins was excellent, really, really good.
Yeah, it was a good match, man. I think it was just a way to get Seth Rollins back on track, because I think after they kept I have no problem with people doing the the on-screen relationship thing. Like everybody knows he and Becky Lynch is dating, but I think that kind of took Seth Rollins out of the game a little bit. It didn't take Becky Lynch out the game, obviously, but I think it took Seth Rollins out of it a little bit. And then I think now he got beat Brock again, so now it's a way to get Seth Rollins back in it. And I think the best thing for them to do is to stop mentioning that he's dating Becky Lynch. We all know he's dating Becky Lynch. Stop mentioning. Same thing with Becky. Please stop mentioning she's dating Seth Rollins. We all know she's dating Seth Rollins. Keep them two separate. They will be fine. Two superstars. They don't need to keep mentioning that they're dating. I think that's what kind of takes people out of it a little bit sometimes.
What they should have done was, when I think just before they did the sort of the angles where they were doing promos together and stuff, the week before, Seth did like a stretcher job, and they showed like Becky by the stretcher, checking on him. That was
cool. Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
I enjoyed that.
But then the next week, then they took it too far, as they so often did, by doing the promos together and the matches together. I don't want to see that shit. I want to because they were both so hot individually.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what
when
I'm
they
saying.
got together, Seth just looked like a bit of a dick. He just didn't seem. He just wasn't likable when he was with her, because the way they wanted to portray her and the way they were telling him to portray himself, he wasn't all the things that had got him to the dance and got him over for the months before. So, do you know what I mean? He kind of lost the things which were making him attract popularity and crowd reactions weren't there. And to make it worse, obviously it coincided with him saying some really stupid shit on social media, which meant I think that didn't help him either, because I feel like a few people were a bit more, I don't know, maybe that didn't have an influence on it. I thought that it did, because I felt like that combined with the Becky stuff just lost his way a bit and lost a bit of his. Before that, him and her were like so over, and he's still not quite back there yet.
Yeah, I think over time, like as we go along, I think Seth is gonna maybe get back. Like, see, the thing was, like, I even said this a couple months back. Like, I think the trigger to put Seth on the Universal title should put the Universal title on Seth should have been pulled when he was coming out of WrestleMania 34 because that was when Seth was like at his peak,
Yeah.
like he was over, like coming out of WrestleMania 34, and they like he had the great Intercontinental title run. That was fantastic. But I think if there was gonna be any time to put the Universal title on him, like that was it, like 'cause he was like the guy. And I like honestly right now I still think he is the guy on Raw, like without question. I still think he is, like he's the top guy. But I guess we just gonna have to see where he goes from here, depending on who he's gonna feud with next.
Yeah, if they did it like we said with him going like Lou dropping the title to AJ,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with that. If they're going to go with him versus Braun, I don't know if I want to see that feud. I don't know if I want to see that match.
I like just to go back to your Braun thing, man. I completely have lost like interest in Braun Strowman as a world
Yeah,
title
same
contender.
here.
Like I can't see it like cause you okay. We go back to SummerSlam 2017. Braun Strowman was in that fatal 4-way for the Universal title. He didn't get pinned, but he lost. He lost to Brock Lesnar again at No Mercy 2017. Lost to Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble 2018. Lost to Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel. Like I'm now supposed to believe that Braun Strowman could like beat Brock Lesnar again. Like even like I just can't get into Braun Strowman like as a world title contender. U.S. title, I can see that happening, but
he's got a similar issue to Samoa Joe in that every time he has a big title match, he loses.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that a couple of times, people lose interest, and it's very difficult to get that back. But speaking of people who did get it back after people lost a bit of interest,
Here we go.
I never lost interest.
Here we go.
I never gave up. We had the main event, the Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor, and boy, oh boy, was it good. So let's just talk about the entrance to start. They start with like the actual Firefly Funhouse segments, and I love that the crowd sings along to the kiddie tune to it. I just love that.
They had to let me in, pop up on the Titantron.
So what did you feel about the entrance? How good did you think it was?
Well, I was
everything.
I was very, very into it. Like when so when Finn Balor finished making his entrance, I literally turned my TV down that I had on, and I was watching the show on my laptop. And I made sure I turned it up the volume to 100% because I wanted to make sure I heard everything, literally everything. And when it happened, I was like, when the beat dropped for the rock song, the new rock song that he had, that Code Orange did, like I was like, okay, I guess they going heavy metal. Like this is like this is some good stuff. And I'm not even a fan of rock music, and I was like, I like the song. And then like I just like the way they shot it. Like they didn't keep the camera on them too long. Like it was like that fading, like that cross shot that they used to do with Sanity. Like it was just like the camera sweeping across. You only got certain shots of his face. And then I think the best shot, and I wish they would have got it like from behind Bray Wyatt, was when they caught the shot of everybody holding up the flash on their phone.
And like you could see him popping on, couldn't you?
Yeah, and you could that was the best, man. Like that was just a great image. And I was like, you think people still invested in Bray Wyatt? Yeah, there it is. They love him, man. Like Bray Wyatt is literally like not to jump too far because I know we're gonna get into it, but like I was saying earlier, man, like this thing that he has, like, dude, they struck gold with this, man. Like this is like some like this thing right here, like I keep trying to tell people, man, like Bray Wyatt does not need the Universal title. He does not need the WWE title. He does not need a championship. Like this thing is above championships. Like this is just some mega star type stuff. And people will say like, oh, I wish he was on Raw often. Like, man, I don't want to see that entrance until Survivor Series. I don't want to see that entrance until Royal Rumble. I don't want to see that until Mania. Like we need to see. Like, go ahead, you continue.
I was just going to. It's just going to add to what you said. The only time I want to see Bray on TV between now and the next pay-per-view he's at is in kids TV presenter.
Yep.
Or if the Fiend like attacks his next opponent. That's the only things I want to see from it.
Exactly. And like another thing, man, like now even like, okay, so we've seen this Fiend, everybody's hooked on the Fiend. Now I think this is another way. If you desperately like, you just want, like, if they just want Bray Wyatt on TV, have him just be the nice guy. Like he don't even have to wrestle. Have him backstage and like have people
and shake his hands.
like have people confront him and be like, man, what was up with you doing this to me last week? And Bray's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I really enjoy what you do. I'm a big fan of yours. And just have him like just act like he doesn't know what the hell is going on, even though he actually does. And like if things get too out of control, like let's say somebody walks up to the nice guy Bray Wyatt, slaps across the face, pisses him off. Now you know what's about to happen next because you brought that out of him. Like like I said before, like they literally have struck gold with this thing, man.
Yeah, the most important thing is he's got to win his matches like that. He's got to decimate people. He's got to win his feuds and all that stuff. So what I thought would have been really cool on Monday was if Finn was there, but like obviously they didn't use it. But if he was going to be there, was to like have him and the OC perhaps be in the back just talking. And then have nice guy Bray Wyatt come up to him and like shake their hands and say, "Hey guys," and Finn, them all just be like,
and basically just praise Finn, basically.
Yeah, it's a great performance last night, buddy. Well done.
See that I would have really enjoyed. Like a lot of people keep saying, "Oh, I want to see the Fiend." Like we don't need to see the Fiend. We don't need to see him like anytime soon. We need to see nice guy Bray Wyatt acting like he's just like the most nice person in the world, nice guy in the world, congratulating people he literally just destroyed. Like that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. So what was important for me was number one, was important for me that they kept his original theme song, but they made it more heavy metal, darker, rockier, bit quicker, but they kept the lyrics and the eerie singing. That was I really was not concerned because I knew they'd come up with a cool song, but I wanted them to remix that song rather than go away from it completely. The other thing I was worried about slightly was that they weren't going to do an entrance and they were going to just have him appear in the ring.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad they didn't do that. And next was the lantern. He still has a lantern, but it's the severed head of basically
his own.
The old version of Bray, the dreadlocks and stuff, which is scary in itself because the eyes are sewn shut and the mouth is like super wide with the light in. So when like Hannah Moore on Twitter came up with an awesome idea, is so the next time the Fiend does a match on like say Clash Champions or Survivor Series, whatever, is he comes out with the lantern, but instead of Bray Wyatt's head, it's Finn Balor's head. So every time he like decimates someone, the next time he has a match as the Fiend, the lantern is the person's head who he defeated. I thought that was really cool and unique idea. The only problem is I'm imagining they cost a pretty penny to make.
Yeah, that is a great idea. The only concern I have about that is I'm pretty sure that's gonna take a long time, like sculpt that, like make that. Yeah. But that's a great idea,
cool.
though.
It's such a cool lantern, though, and like I felt like they didn't. The commentators didn't focus on the fact that it was his severed head either. I don't even think they mentioned it. But
man,
yeah,
the great thing about commentary doing the entrance, I'm so glad that they didn't talk. Like, don't talk. Just let it be what it is. Let people think what they're gonna think. Like the best day Michael Cole said during that match, it was when the lights cut back on. They zoomed in on Bray Wyatt, and he said, "What the hell did we just see?" Perfect. Because I don't even know what I just saw. Like that was just great.
Spot on. So then the match obviously began then. I love that he changed his moveset. Still keeps the Urangi and the Sister Abigail, or he teased the Sister Abigail, but the way he was using his head, particularly in the opening minutes, was awesome. Like he threw, and even the way he threw Finn Balor against the ropes, instead of like the usual sort of like Irish whip, he kind of grabbed him by the back of the head and sort of like just launched him across it, and then he just like stuck his head in his face, and just the way he altered the way he moves and stuff like that, it was just so creative, and just it was, you couldn't take your eyes off it. And then he sort of traps him, Finn, and he stood behind him, and he kind of picks him up off the floor, and then he goes like that, and he just cracks his neck.
Yeah, like
they break necks in like films and TVs. So he's like behind him, and he just like twists his neck. And I thought
that was the end of the match.
I thought they should have finished it like that, because you imagine with the entrance and the severed head and just how different it is. Can you imagine if that had been the finish? Like he just couple of headbutts, couple of power moves, and then he snaps his neck and wins. That would have been so shocking. Even though I really enjoyed the rest of the match.
I think that would have caught a lot of people off guard, like in a good way. Like just snap the neck and then you just hit a bell ring. Like everybody's gonna be like, "What the hell just happened?" Like I think that would have been like a real cool moment.
Yeah. So then Finn does make like a little bit of a comeback. I did think that Finn got too much offense in.
Yeah. I agree with that. But I mean at the same time, man.
The offense.
I was gonna say like I agree completely. Like when he started getting a little bit too much offense, and I was like, all right, now, damn it, like okay, take it easy. Like he don't need to get that much offense, and I'm like, he taking time off now. Remember that you got the next 2 months to repackage Finn Balor. It don't need to happen right now. But at the same time, it's like you don't want to like completely bury Finn Balor. Like you still want to throw him under the bus, but you don't want to like completely do it to him.
Yeah, I think I was alright with the amount maybe, but it was he took the Fiend off his feet, and I think that was where I was like, okay, that's enough. Like, you could do the drop kicks and make him stumble back into the corner. That's fine, but I didn't want him to be taken off his feet, perhaps. And then Finn goes for the coup de grace off the top rope, and he catches him in the mandible claw for the fact I liked that instead of like the win just being because he passed out, it was he pinned him with his fingers down his throat. Yeah, so that was excellent. A great way to finish. Overall, and for the Fiend, what do you think they could have done better to make it like even better, or was there anything they could have done better?
For me personally, I think that was the perfect debut. Like I genuinely don't think it was nothing wrong with it. Like I mean, if I had to like pick something that was like a gripe, it would just be like that Finn got like a little bit too much offense in. But I mean, like people like overall didn't remember that by the end of his entrance, because remember he went on the ramp and they put the silhouette light on him, and then they just shut the lights off as they was looking back, and then he did the little let me in voice. Like I honestly don't think you couldn't have planned a perfect better debut. Like that was grade A right there, man. And just to like throw this in, like I can only imagine like how this feels like for Bray, like outside of the character, like just him. Like dude has been away since like he hasn't wrestled on TV since like August of 2018. He had that little minor car accident a while back, and that took him out for a little bit. That's why he had to step away. And dude went and had a baby. Like, and now he comes back, and like now he's basically like one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star in the company, and he's only had one match that went 1 minute. Like, dude is a made man, doesn't need championships to be made. Like, he's like on that upper echelon of like WWE superstar right now. Like, I really feel like happy for him, like as a person. Like, just imagine like how frustrating it's been for these past couple years. And now just to see him like where he is now, it's crazy.
Yeah, he must be like on top of the world just with everything that's gone on, and the way like when I woke up Monday morning, it was still trending worldwide. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, was all still trending worldwide, and it was still trending like lunchtime UK time. So it's like people bought into it. It was a big deal. I saw quite a few people who you wouldn't necessarily associate with wrestling. Also, like commented on it and stuff. And as everyone has said on all different, podcasts and Twitter, and it's like you just don't want you don't want the WWE to ruin it.
Mess this up, man. It's and then another positive thing about this is with this gimmick, Bray Wyatt has live events off. Probably, if anything, he probably doesn't have to work live events. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to be there. So that's a good thing for him. Get the rest.
Yeah, they could just do 5. And the other thing they could do make Firefly Funhouse like a chat show, like in ring, if they want to keep him on TV.
Yeah,
they could
that's an option.
Just do that, which I think could be quite entertaining because you can almost make him a comedy character without ruining his character now. Or you can have comedy moments with the way he, the way that side of him is without it impacting
the Fiend.
And people buying into him being a threat. It is what it is. I thought it was incredible. The only thing I think I personally would have changed is, it was the fact that he knocked him off his feet. Finn knocked the Fiend off his feet, only briefly. And the other thing probably would have just been, I probably would have, if I was booking it, I would have probably ended it with the neck snap, just because I think that would have been so shocking that it would have been just incredible. But yeah, so overall, mate, SummerSlam what would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10? I'm gonna give it 8. I'm gonna give it 8.5. 8.5 out of 10.
It's quite a big one. I think I probably would have given it like a 7.5. The Fiend kind of like knocked it up for me because I was just on such a high after that. After watching that, I was just like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like it was really like one of those moments where you're thinking about it afterwards and you're just like, that was like really, really special.
Like did you see Johnny Gargano watching it on the Watch Along show? Like he was like into it. Like that's what I said. I guess a lot of people, man, like it's 2019. You know how hard it is to suspend your belief. Like people genuinely like believe that this thing was like a real thing for like just the brief moment that it was out, like that Bray Wyatt was out there. Like it's like I'm telling you, man, WWE struck gold with this thing. Like if they mess it up, boy, they gonna have a lot of people upset.
Yeah, I think it's so good that it could be quite difficult for them to mess it up. I think the biggest threat is, in terms of them messing it up, will be they've got to keep it, pretty much unbeatable. Like the Fiend needs to just decimate everyone. And I know like some people will get a bit hurt if their like favorites get squished, but I think it's so important. And generally, you can rehab someone in a night from a squash, can't you? And because the Fiend is so special and so different, you don't really lose too much by losing to the Fiend.
100%. Like I like the only thing I think people get from like losing to the Fiend, like maybe if you want somebody to get like repackaged, have them lose to the Fiend.
Yeah.
Like if you want somebody to get repackaged, you want them to get sent off, like that. That's definitely a way to send them off, and it further elevates Bray Wyatt. Like I don't want, like I keep saying this, like I don't want Bray Wyatt in the championship mix. He doesn't need a championship. Like this character is made. Like I don't think a championship is gonna do anything for him. Like he's just gonna be there. Cause I mean he's not even gonna be there. So I mean why would he need a championship?
Yeah, and like if someone's injured and they're gonna be written off TV, have the Fiend do it. Exactly. You're gonna take Shane McMahon out of power. Have the Fiend do it. like
Completely agree.
leave a long list of sort of casualties, and you can always go back to them later. And when they come back from injury later in the year, if you want to go with that feud, you've got that opportunity. If you want to bring Shane back later this year, then and feud with Bray, you can do that. If you just want to not and just ignore it, you can ignore it. It's like the perfect character for writing people off TV. Okay, so anything else you wanted to add, mate, about the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, or any other wrestling bits?
Only thing, we got Takeover Cardiff coming up. It's gonna be looking like a real solid card, and Katsuyori Shibata is back, which is very, 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 very good. And Sasha Banks is back, which we talked about. But Shibata being back is a very, very crazy surprise, considering that he literally almost died a couple years ago in the ring, and now he's back, and I think he's going to be wrestling. So that is tremendous for him, both professionally and personally. So that's just very cool. But
that warmed my heart. That did, seeing Shibata, just seeing everyone tweeting about it and seeing that he was back. It's like you said, he very nearly died. So.
And what do you think about the upcoming Takeover Cardiff card? Like, we got Walter versus Tyler Bate, Zach Gibson and James Drake defending the tag titles, Tony Storm versus Kaylee Ray.
The card looks amazing. Walter versus Tyler Bate. I haven't seen their progress match, but I've heard that it was just incredible. I heard that it was exceptional. They've got quite good chemistry, and they've obviously got the size difference as well, which makes for a interesting dynamic. Especially like Tyler Bate is like really strong as well, isn't he? He's obviously got like the big strong boy gimmick, which it'll be interesting because they'll come up with some really cool spots. Where he's lifting Walter or something. I really looking forward to the grizzled young vets, Zach Gibson and James Drake versus Mark Andrews, who's from Cardiff as well, and Flash Morgan Webster.
Yeah, Mark Andrews, he's about to get the biggest pop. I'm telling you. And then his theme song, his band, they are making a song for Takeover Cardiff. So which is really cool. Now see that's all Triple H right there. That's all Triple H.
Yeah, it's classic boy, isn't he?
Yeah, and then another thing, man, I want to say this: like Zach Gibson and James Drake, Grizzly Young Vet, they are like one of the most underrated tag teams. Like they are great. Like that is a great tag team.
Yeah, Zach Gibson's one of my favorite UK wrestlers in the world. Like in all promotions, I find him captivating as a heel. So what matches do you think they're going to add to it?
To take over Cardiff, I think they're going to add Norm Dog versus Travis Banks. I'm trying to think of what other feuds that we'll probably get. Probably Dave Master versus Joe Coffey. Yeah, not Mark Coffey. Joe Coffey. We'll probably get Dave Master versus Joe Coffey. Yeah, I think that's gonna round out the card. 5 matches. You got the women's title match, UK title match, UK tag titles match, and then 2 singles matches. I think that's gonna be what tops it off.
So yeah. Pete Dunne will be there.
Nah, I think Pete Dunne will be backstage, of course, but I think Pete Dunne is like full-time NXT now. So I think Pete Dunne is the next NXT North American champion. I think that's definitely going to happen. Like I think he's going to be the one to send Velveteen Dream on his way to the main roster. But yeah, I don't think Pete. Because I mean, like you look at guys like Pete and Tyler and Trent and Mark Andrews, they were there from the beginning. So I think NXT UK now is about building the people that's coming in, like the fresh faces, to a certain degree. And I think Pete like built that's his foundation. So I mean he built it. Now it's time to pass it on to the next person. And I think Pete's doing this thing in NXT, and I think Pete's gonna be NXT North American champion real soon. Probably take over Chicago.
Yeah, I think so. I I'm just greedy because if I do go, I'd like to see Pete Dunne, in Cardiff. But I'm looking forward to seeing Walter. Really, really looking forward to seeing Walter.
Make sure you send it.
in the
Make sure you send the
flesh.
theme song when you're there.
Oh yeah, I could be awesome. Just the pop and the sing along, be incredible, mate.
100%.
Oh, it's gonna be good. So between you and Jeff, you've convinced me to go.
Yeah, you gotta go, man. You gotta go.
So thank you for joining me, buddy. Tell the people where they can find you on Twitter.
You can find me at AD Thompson on Twitter, and you can also check out some of my interviews on my YouTube channel, Andrew Thompson's Interviews, and I got some more interviews coming within the coming weeks.
Wicked, yeah. Check those out because Andrew's interviews are excellent. You can find me on Twitter at ACEcast_nation. You can find the show on Facebook, facebook.com/ACEcastNation. You can find all our shows on all the various different subjects in video format, youtube.com/AcePodcastNation. You can also check out the audio versions at Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, all the usual podcasting platforms. And let me know what you thought of the show. And yeah, give us a thumbs up, share the video, tell us what you think. And also tell me what you think of the new logo, which this will be the first video with it on. And yeah, thanks for joining me, Andrew.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
Shut up
Cheers, guy. And cheers to everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.